Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bread's Bakery Broadcast. That's the name. Don't wear it out. Or do. I don't care. This is the first episode of this show. This is the Acceleron League catch-up episode. We're going to cover 5 weeks of Acceleron League in one video. Normally, I'm going to do this on like a weekly basis, and we'll kind of go through each league's race, kind of break down how each race goes, talk about like crashes or major drives, comeback drives throughout the race, and get into kind of the nitty gritty of the races. But we don't really have that kind of time because we're doing 5 weeks in one episode. So welcome. I'm here with a whole bunch of guests. So many guests that I slid one person over to my counter. Footloose is with me at the counter. You spoke over me, you son of a bitch. No, I'm kidding. How you doing, Foot?
I'm doing pretty good.
I've got Gunner.
Hello, hello.
How you doing, Gunner?
Doing decent.
Cool, cool. I got RJ with me today.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
Awesome. And then Gore. I have Gore with me. How you doing, Gore?
What's poppin'?
Gore, you don't have
Pretty
any.
good, my man.
You don't have any like. Gosh, what's it called? No deja vu, right? We've definitely not done this before.
Absolutely no. This is the first time we are recording.
We've definitely never recorded anything else before this. This is the first time. We definitely didn't record an hour 45-minute episode that hilariously recorded with no audio. That never happened.
Flawless.
Have not
Flawless recording so far.
Yes. Yeah, no issues. So welcome. This is the very first episode. How you guys enjoying the league so far? I guess we'll start with a little small talk. How you guys enjoying the league so far? Season 6, right? Yeah, that's the number
That's
one.
correct, yeah.
It is.
It's been fun.
It is the season.
It's the season of a lifetime. That's all I'm going to say.
New game. We're on Hot Wheels Unleashed 2.
Yes.
Physics are very different. The game's much more like quick paced.
It's very true.
Yeah, everything's faster now.
But I've been enjoying it a lot. It's
Absolutely.
I think it actually suits my style a bit better. I think I'm better in this game than I was in the first.
And the car selection is a lot better too.
I actually agree with that too. I do actually agree with
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, we get a lot more fantasy castings rather than character cars taking up half.
I don't miss the character cars. God,
Yes.
those things were terrible.
The character cars were the worst.
I mean, some of them were like okay, but for the most part, they would just take up space, and you couldn't paint them without mods.
Yeah.
So it's like just kind of a waste of space. Oh wow, thanks, Joda. Just Steam
Joda cameo.
Joda cameoed because I'm just recording screen, so that just showed up in the recording. Thanks, Joda. Good job, buddy.
Man, the Sixth Ranger.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully, no one plays anything incriminating and that it pops up on screen. That would be kind of awkward. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Again, this is the Acceleron video, so we're gonna start talking about the teams. So we're talking mostly about these guys on the left side. Not much representation. English is difficult. From those teams, it's just me and Gore, and we're both on Curlworks, but everybody else here knows everybody else, so yeah, we'll get into it. Oh, I'm not tabbed into. There we go. So first team we're going to talk about is Neostorm Evo. They're in Acceleron this season by winning Acceleron last season. Team's owned by Kami, according to the info provided by the league.
Wikipedia.
Right? Because it is how that works, right? Kami got it, but gifted it to Animax, sort of, kind of. Yeah. So Animax is the captain.
Correct.
Yeah. Animax is the captain. We have Power Pipes on this team. Pato, Garnables, Akiro, Beck, and Kami. And Kami's a co-captain. We'll talk about the cars in a second. This is very similar to the team they had last season, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
I think there's only
that
been
is correct.
a couple switch ups at most.
It's pretty much the same, except for Toxic Adam not competing this season.
Yeah.
And they added
Being replaced
Pato.
with
Yeah.
Pato.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, Pato's proven to be a pretty good driver so far. I mean, as we'll get to.
Yeah.
So
We'll
it was a good addition
we'll
for them.
The juicy details for
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, we will. But
There's some hard hitters on this team.
absolutely,
For sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, NSD has always been hard hitters.
Especially since the revival, at the very least.
Yeah.
I admittedly
Yeah,
don't know
that's
much
correct.
about their previous iteration. I know Animax had a season where he basically drove by himself, but outside of that, I don't know too much. So we'll go ahead and talk about some of the cars. So Animax has RDO2, Power Pipes is in Night Shifter, Pato has the Honda S2K, Garnables has Street Stealth, Akiro has Devancinator, Beck is in the Mattel Dream Mobile, and Kami has Split Image 2. And I think it's pretty safe to say this is a good variety, but also very meta team lineup for cars.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah,
Just-
RDO 2 was
RDO2
pretty good.
is actually amongst the best balanced class vehicles.
Yeah.
It's got a higher natural top speed than the others.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
you
then-
can just make it even better with the mods.
Right. Because yeah, even without some of the perks, its top speed's ridiculous. Like its natural top speed is bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember when we did that just giant loop
Test,
with a bunch of
speed
different
test.
cars.
Yes, the loop test.
Yeah, that and GT Scorcher were the two cars that
Two of the fastest.
had passed.
Yeah.
Yeah. RDO2 beat out
That is correct.
GT, but
Yeah. We were trying to look for cars that needed to be banned, and ironically, those two did not get banned because they didn't actually end up being the problem.
yeah.
Boost strength ended up being infinitely more important when it came to car bans.
Yeah.
But I guess that's really not too surprising. What do we got? What's the breakdown on this team? It's 1, 2, 3, 4 Swifts, 1 balanced, 1 drifter that's basically just a Swift, and then 1 rocket? Or is
that
Dreammobile a
basically
rocket?
just a Swift.
Dreammobile
is a
fake
fake
rocket,
rocket,
but it's
Okay.
actually a Swift.
That's right. And so it's a fake rocket. It's basically a Swift, but it's a rocket,
Exactly.
not a drifter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah. So basically, you get 5 Swifts, 1 rocket, and 1 balanced.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one of those Swifts is a motorcycle, which is proven to be
Yeah.
like the X factor.
Problematic.
Problematic is one way to put it, but the X factor is like another way to put it.
Yeah.
They're very good at certain
Yeah.
things. Very, very good at certain things.
Yeah, I haven't had the chance to race against a motorcycle in a league race.
good.
They can be very, very powerful in in the right
In the right
conditions.
hands on the right tracks.
It's interesting.
Some might even say a little too powerful, but that's not really for us to talk about.
Yeah.
At least right now. So yeah, this is a very good team. I mean, they won last season, so obviously they're gonna be a good team. Completely justified being here and all that. Kept the lineup together because, I mean, why not run it back? You just won, might as well run it back again if you can keep everybody. So there wasn't really like a.
Absolutely.
They
Because
didn't.
the high ground is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And then they didn't have any like talent drain or anything. It just stayed. Everybody was like cool with it. They didn't try to branch out. So they brought in Pato to replace their one retiring driver, and here they are. So our next team, though, has had a few changes, some retooling to get ready for Acceleron, and that is Curlworks. Curlworks.
Yeah, baby.
We are Curlworks homers, so I mean it's to be expected. We made it. I say weeks. I'm here on this team with Gore, just captain and co-captain, vice versa. Gore's captain, obviously.
Nice.
We got second, just barely in console league last season, which put us in Nitrox. And in Acceleron, not Nitrox. We're too cool for Nitrox. That's what I meant to say.
Too cool for the kiddie pool.
Yes, sir. So our lineup is your Boi Gore, Bizor, Billick, myself, Fedestic. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Brett MG. I didn't do that at the beginning of the fucking video. I'm such an idiot. You're finding out last who I am. I mean, if you're on Bread's Bakery broadcast, you probably know who I am at this point, but I didn't actually say who I am. So
yeah, I'm the piece of bread that's right there.
Yeah,
whatever.
Right there, laying down.
You just think maybe the host would introduce himself before introducing the guests and also starting the topic. What a fucking idiot.
Mayhap.
Anyway, Fedestic. We got Fedestic, Dragon Shark, and Wolf of Vengeance. Gore, you want to talk about the changes we made to the lineup from last season to this one?
Last season, we had a couple things that changed a little bit. Last season we had Buttons. He's part of PlayStation, but this season he's starting college. He has a lot of personal things going on right now. So, yeah, right now Buttons is part of our pit crew. He's still supporting the team, but it's not an active driver. And next up we got Norton. Norton was obviously a captain last season. We're going to talk about them a little bit more in depth in the future, but because he was already an Acceleron captain, he had no way to stay with the team unless he changed the ownership of Blackheart Racing. And this season we got two new faces. Both are from Acceleron, who already had some seasons on them. First we got Billock. Billock already worked his way into Acceleron with two different teams. He's a great driver. We're going to talk about him a little bit more in the future. And we also got Dragon Shark. He also worked as a partner with Billock in some seasons in the past. He's been working since, I believe, season 2 of Acceleron, if I recall correctly. So he's also a veteran in the league.
So, yeah, we had a couple holes to fill and filled them with good talent. And I think before the season started, I think a lot of people had Curlworks 3rd or 4th for the most part.
Yeah, people had their doubt.
But I think we had a really good car draft. And we'll get into that in just a second. Just so far, we've punched, I'd say, above our weight, which is obviously a good thing. We've got a very motivated group of drivers, so I'm very excited about that, especially as we head into the second half of the season. Again, I actually have a very similar car spread as NSC.
Yeah, with 6 Swifts and 1 balance.
Right, and one of our Swifts is a bike.
And you're driving the balance car, right, Brett?
No. Nissan's a Swift.
No.
That's Dragon Shark. Yeah.
Dragon Shark is driving the balance car, and we also have a lot of repeats on this team as well. So we got Night Shifter, same repeat as Neostorm. Same with the Dreammobile. As you said, Brett, we also have a bike. And the rest of the team is pretty similar, not exactly the same, but very similar vehicles, handling and performance-wise.
And it's just kind of how the meta seems to have panned out, at least for the time being. We'll see if Milestone bothers to actually do anything, or if they just tell us to shut up.
X'd out.
Again.
But, I mean, yeah, so far this is kind of what the metas looked like, and teams that want to really, really actively compete in Acceleron have to kind of lean into it a little bit. So it results in team lineups looking a little bit like this. And we'll talk a bit about how some of these races are faring for teams of drivers with different car types. So far, Swifts have been the strongest, so you're going to see a lot of them.
Yeah, especially in Acceleron.
Yeah, especially in Acceleron, where you're trying to push. I mean, you could argue that you would still see a lot in Nitrox because there's a lot on the line. Where like if you don't do well enough, your team is gone.
Yeah.
But for a lot of the Acceleron teams are pushing for the very top.
Yeah.
So everything matters. Every tenth of a second matters a lot more, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, pretty solid lineup. Very happy with Curlworks. I just remembered something we talked about in the recording that totally didn't happen. Both these teams that we've talked about so far, and really this applies to most of them, super fantastic liveries.
Absolutely.
I
don't think we have
livery artists.
I don't think we have pictures of the teams and their libraries right now, but
we don't. Sorry.
But yeah, people should look at them. If you can get a moment to look at the libraries that each team put out, it would be amazing because that supports the teams, that helps spreading the idea that each team has and to know them better,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Kami's livery for Split Image 2 is awesome. I really, really like it. The red and the blue. It's split image. It's on one color on one side, one color on the other. Super cool.
Yeah, I'd have to say that's actually my favorite of the NSC libraries.
Yep.
It is. It's a really good livery.
And then, of course, the GOAT, Gore, made all of the liveries for Curlworks, and they are all fantastic. Do you have a favorite, Gore?
I don't know, like... I like your library because the green with the black pops a lot, But also Wolf's library, I love how it has this Chicano art style in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at the car from the top, it looks like it has a bird in the hood, and it looks gorgeous.
I think my favorite thing about the Dreammobile livery is if you see it, if you're like ahead of him and you look back, that thing is like legitimately intimidating to look back at, like with the behind camera. It's the front of that car is so intimidating looking. It's beautiful. I love it.
It's like watching the movie Christine back again, like with the popping headlights and the grill that looks like a mouth. It looks amazing when you are looking back on it.
Yeah. It reminds me of like a shark, honestly, with the way it like, especially when he's catching up to you, which I guess is a good segue because we got Riptide Stripes. They are here in Acceleron once again because of they finished second in Acceleron last season, so they get to stay. I was on this team. I left to come over to Curlworks. And I guess I had to choose one or the other. But they have Soul Crusher in Split Image 2. So another great driver and a great car. They have Happy Eye, Jerzo, Jumpy, Big Mac, and Aphex. We'll get to the rest of the cars in just a second. I'm kind of all over the place. And then we'll get into... I'm going to do a preview video for Week 6 that will be later on. And in it, I will talk about a lot of the changes to rosters that have happened. There's been quite a few in Nitrox, but you won't hear about that in the Nitrox video. We're going to talk about that later. But I can just kind of hint that the question marks have been filled on this team. It's Weeb Driving is moved into this team, if I recall correctly, from Street League, which is something else we're going to talk about in the next video, or in a later video.
That is correct.
So Weeb Driving's on this team now, so they do have a full team. What is Weeb Driving driving?
He is in.
He's
Right now.
he's in the Aston Martin DBS,
Ah,
the
that's right.
2010
The
Aston
DBS.
Martin.
Yes, that's right.
Another very fast balance car. I think it's the third fastest.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
Yeah,
again, this is another really solid lineup. They've got the Civic EF, Reverb, Audi R8, the GT Scorcher, and the Classic Packard. This is actually probably like a more balanced mix across the whole team.
And we cannot forget the
It
Split
is.
Image 2 leading the team.
Of course, Split Image 2, I mentioned that at the beginning. But yeah, so they've got a good split. Like, they got 3 Swifts, and then, 3 balanced, and a Rocket?
Yes.
So,
yeah, that is correct.
and that's a good lineup to have because there are ways to make tracks less friendly for Swifts and more friendly for other kinds of cars. So, if that happens, Riptide is best suited for tracks like that, as it stands.
Yeah, surprisingly, no bikes on this team. I think it's one of the 2 Acceleron teams that don't have bikes, and it's interesting because just looking at the lineup that they have, they are pretty much covering everything up except for off-road cars, which we've seen no teams until now have also accounted for, and no bikes in this case, which is the first team we've seen in Acceleron not picking a bike for any of their drivers.
I'd like to give another shout out to Jumpy for the liveries on this team.
They are gorgeous.
They are
drinkable.
Absolutely amazing.
They may be the best Riptide liveries they've ever had. Other than last season, they had the Corvette with the shark eating a piece of bread on my car. That'll always be the best. But other than that, fantastic liveries. They're so good.
Definitely my personal favorite of the season of team liveries. Aside
Oh,
from
yeah?
my choice. Yeah.
I think
I
that's
just hooked on those.
I think that's actually not like a crazy take. Jumpy went crazy on these liveries. They look super good. And I think he also made like a gold version of Weeb Driving's livery for the street finale, if I recall
that's
correctly.
sick.
And if you've seen it, it's awesome too. It's so good.
I'll have to look at the Riptide liveries. I don't think I've seen them.
Have you been watching the videos? What the race videos?
A little bit.
A little bit. Wonderful. Okay, well, hey, that's better than none. That's better than not having watched any of them. You should check them out if you can. They're edited by some cool guys who do a pretty good job for the most part.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't remember who their names are, but they do a pretty good job. I was expecting something from Gunner. He's one of the editors. He must have stepped away or something. He didn't say anything.
Sorry, I was answering a question.
Okay.
Our wonderful editors.
I was poking.
I believe, are Gunner and Dandube.
Yes,
correct?
they are.
I'm
Not this.
so
No
That
one's
is
editing
correct.
this.
I'm
This
not
is
so
unedited,
sure.
but the league videos are edited by Gunner and Dan.
Well, partially. I'm one of the editors.
Yes, you and Dan Dube. You're the editors. If this does end up getting edited, which I don't think it will, because I don't have any plans to have anyone edit right now. But if it does, at some point get edited, whoever edits can put something in right now saying, "Hi, I edited." But I think it's going up unedited, so hey, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah, we can either have the USA or the USB edit if we wanted to.
But one thing I wanted to talk about is Soul brought in Big Mac to this team. That's one of the big changes, really one of the only changes, other than Weeb Driving also stepping in.
Yeah.
Big Mac is ridiculously fast, and I am not at all surprised that Big Mac has been extremely competitive thus far for Riptide.
He makes that balance car kick some serious ass.
Yeah, he really does.
And Big Mac was really fast in the previous season as well.
Yes, on Xbox.
Hmm
He was, but we don't talk about that first race.
We
That was
forgot
an
about
honest
Shadow
mistake.
Big Mac.
we forgot what track limits were. That's one way to start. I guess I never thought about that. Like my Acceleron debut was really bad, but Mac got DQ'd in his very first race. I guess I should look at that
It
and be
was-
like, oh, at
yeah.
least it wasn't that bad.
It was an unfortunate mistake. Just
Right. Of
in
course.
practice, you do things.
And then forget that you're actually doing the race.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to the next team. This is BHR, Blackheart Racing. They made this season in basically it was like this team and what it was Lucky Strikers,
Fusion.
right? No,
No,
Fusions.
it was
Fusions. They had like a PPR off of sorts where whichever team had more points per race when balanced out
The
kind of
average-
got in, and BHR barely had it. So they finished third in Acceleron, had a bit of a tiebreaker win over Fusions, and so they get to stay in the Acceleron League. So they're back. Their lineup is fairly similar, but they have a couple changes.
I see one car that sticks out to me
Oh yeah,
just because it's one of my favorites, Carbide.
Carbide. Yeah,
This is where all the bikes are hiding.
yeah. I mean, this is where all the rest of the bikes are. So we have 4 bikes in Acceleron. 2 of them are on this team. We have Shuby on the Ducati, and then we have Ty on the Vespa.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I
Stargazer's
think
got.
I know how he got on the Vespa. I think it was just a surprise me thing.
Yeah, he said just
Yeah,
pick.
he's,
Ty was just like, yeah,
They
just pick a
just-
car for me, make it competitive. And so they
Yeah.
were like, told him like, okay, you're racing the Vespa. I don't think we've seen the Vespa yet, but I'm excited to see it at some point in the back half of the season because
Yeah, I'm
I
excited
think
to
Ty
see
is
it.
gonna go
that'll,
crazy on
that'll
it.
be pretty fun.
excuse me.
You good? You good? Stargazer's got GT Scorcher. Den Mirison is on this team now and is in Ballistic.
Ooh, that's
Yep.
another classic.
Yep.
Okay.
STH Street Creeper. That's a drifter for Roro. That is a wild pick. It's a lot of people would say.
Statement.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Ivan is back in Carbide. And then we have, of course, Captain and owner Norton in the Honda Civic EF.
If we were to break this team down into like how many of per class, we've got 4, right, in Swifts, 1 balance, 1 drifter, 1 rocket, right? Right.
See.
I think so.
Yeah, yes.
One drifter,
yes.
1 rocket, 1
Because
balance.
Carbide and Ballistic are Swift.
No, Carbide's a rocket.
Carbide's just a
Oh,
rocket.
it's a rocket?
Yep, it's a rocket.
Dang.
'Cause you got the 2 bikes that are Swift, the Civic EF.
So,
that's
yeah,
Swift and
So
Ballistic, that's
2
Swift.
car Swifts, 2 bike Swifts, and then, yes, that's correct. It's just another really balanced lineup. One of the only teams that can run 2 bikes in the same week if a track comes up that is really bike
Yeah.
friendly.
Yeah, true.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it in the back half of the season.
It might.
I mean, we actually have 3. It would actually have to be the last couple because we're running mostly collisions on, and spoiler alert, bikes don't really like collisions that much. So I don't know. Maybe we won't, but you never know what we'll see on Cosmic Drift. That's the last race of the season. They could totally run there.
Could. Maybe.
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 I don't know.
Perhaps.
Now I'm thinking about it. I have no idea.
Again, though, this is a good team. I think Shuby did a lot of the liveries for this team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
I think Shuby revealed in the episode that didn't happen that not all of their liveries are done yet,
Oh.
Yeah.
They are not. I know that for a fact.
which is pretty hilarious. But I'm sure when needed, they'll be available. So
Yeah, it should be super busy all the time with all the other league stuff that has to happen. So, understandable for sure.
the rest of the staff team does exist, though. So
That is true.
whenever you need anything, remember the rest of us
We
exist.
totally exist,
We
guys.
exist. Promise.
We're right
We'll
here.
answer you too.
Please.
Otherwise, do you guys have any thoughts about this team's lineup in general? It's mostly the same, but they've added Den, and that's really it. It's
Pretty
tight.
much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
I was in last
basically.
season.
So they basically also went with the run it back mentality, except they added Den. Who left this team? You guys remember?
I know. Igor left. He was in last season.
Ah, right. Igor. That's right. That's right.
And wasn't X11 already before on their team?
Hmm?
I
Wait,
think he
who?
left as well.
did?
X11. X11.
Wait, I'm so lost.
X11.
X11. Yeah,
Oh,
I think he also left.
was he on their team last season?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, you mean G11?
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about
that-
G11.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh
he
my
was
God.
totally on the team as well. Yes.
What team was G11 on? I thought G11 took a season off.
Did he?
Was G11 on
I
a
get
team
my
last season?
seasons confused.
I thought G11 took last season off and only raced a few.
Oh, it must
street
have been like
races.
season.
5.
Yeah, you're right.
Or
He
4.
was on Blackheart for season 4. That was my
Okay.
bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it was maybe
Because I don't see any gaps in the between these two seasons, 5 and 6. Only just Den replacing Igor. That's it.
Yep. I think it's the only change. But yeah, again, another solid team, good lineup of cars, wide variety, wider than most other teams.
And Den's a formidable driver, so
Yes, for sure.
good.
A
Yeah.
lot of them are.
Good
Roro
pick.
was one of the champs of Xbox for the longest time, too.
Yes.
So yeah.
I still remember just season 2, that bump around.
Yeah, dude, the bump around was a menace.
Yeah.
All right, we have one team left to talk about.
This is the most interesting one. By
This
far,
one is very interesting.
in terms
So,
of team management, anyway.
we have this is Conquerors. They got here by winning Console League last season. RMD was the owner of this team, but for personal reasons, departed from the league, at least for now. And Zephyroth stepped up to take over this team in the meantime. So temporarily, this team is listed as jointly owned. It is currently captained by Zephyr in the
Wow.
STH Twin Mill. And then one issue this team had was they had a lot of drivers depart in the off season.
Yeah.
So we'll go through that real quick. They had Power Pipes had a choice to make, chose to stick with the Acceleron winning team up at NSE. So he left the team. Corporal Failure was like, this game doesn't really suit my tastes, so I'm out. So he also departed. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody else who departed. Oh yes, Frost. Killer
Yeah,
Frost.
Frost.
Decided to move on to greener pastures, perhaps. So
We'll see on that one.
yeah, well, time will tell
Hmm.
if that was actually the good move or not. But moved on to a different team as well. So that left RMD at the time with some holes to fill, and RMD went and got some rookies to fill in So Elias, Johnny, and Arrow stuck with the team. And then Alyssa Rocks was brought in as a rookie, along with Gladbags and Advanced 07. They're all new additions to the team and the league in general. And so that gives us this lineup. You got an interesting group of cars and drivers here, to say the very least.
It's pretty,
Pretty
It's pretty-
interesting.
Oh,
I was gonna
go
say
ahead.
it's pretty exciting to see 3 rookies on a Acceleron team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I will say this as well.
Absolutely.
Advanced has been doing very well in Acceleron as well.
Yeah, Advanced has been
Yeah.
this team's biggest bright spot. And Advanced has had a couple rough races, as he's racing a lot right now for them. But generally speaking, Advanced has done a great job given the situation this team is in.
Oh yeah.
They haven't had Elias up to this point. Elias has not had the availability hasn't been able to race. It should change. I believe Elias was online, so we should see Elias here soon, which is exciting. Zephyr has not raced yet. We won't talk any more about that right now. Hopefully we'll see Zephyr later this season. We haven't seen Johnny yet either. I believe Johnny was busy to start the season, but we might see him later in Rollin' Thunder.
Yeah.
We have seen Arrow in Drift King. I love Drift King, but the car is a drifter, and they're a little underwhelming right now.
I remember at the beginning of Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, Drift King seemed like a really good choice.
Yeah, I was driving it a lot. I really liked it. I think I was also kind of an early adapter of blue builds. While everybody was using mostly green builds at the beginning of the game, I was fully
Mainly because it was
embracing.
actually good at the time.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, because it was really good. But I was out there in Drift King in a blue build and was actually doing really well, even against other league people. I
And
don't
that
know.
was all before the green build nerf.
Yeah.
The unnecessary change.
Yeah, I don't know what Milestone was thinking on that one. They just were like, "You guys want balance changes? Okay, boom, balance changed. Bye, see you later." And we haven't heard from them
And they
since.
did out.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
broke a couple cars, they fixed a couple cars, and we've otherwise not heard from them. And when we ask about it, they tell us to shut the hell up, or they ban us. So
Gotta
say what
love
you
it.
will about that, but hey. Alyssa, this raced a few times in the Audi Sport Quattro, and had some tough results. Again, this team. I'm not going to beat around the bush. This team is in a tough situation right now. The leadership changed right as the season was starting. Like it's.
Yeah. They've just been plagued
yeah.
with some unfortunate circumstances outside of their control, and in for the most part, the races this season are very few of them are tailored to off-road vehicles, which makes up about half of this team.
Yeah. Rolling Thunder, is that heavy duty?
It's
It's off-road.
It is
Yeah.
off-road.
It's
There
an
are 3
off-road.
off-road cars in this team at the moment.
Gosh. I hope they are able to show up and perform well on Ramshackle then. It's practically made for them.
Yeah.
Hope.
It has been a rough season for them. As you said, the change of leadership, most of their members having personal issues. As you said, Elias not having Game Pass. It's been a rough start of a season, considering that half of the team is filled with newcomers. It's always going to be hard, and in Acceleron, where the tracks demand a lot more of practice and people put a lot of time into it, it's always going to be a complicated situation.
Another thing, we've not seen Gladbags yet. I don't know what's up with Gladbags. Hopefully we'll see Gladbags soon, but we've not seen much of Glad so far. Some bright spots for this team, though. I think Arrow did an incredible job with their liveries. Have you guys seen them?
Yeah, they're
Very
awesome
good.
looking.
One critique, and this only came from whenever the Curlworks video was released. The Conqueror's liveries, because they're the main body material and in the decal material are both metallics. I'm like, they're both metallic, so whenever they go into the out of bounds, their cars just become black.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't make liveries, so I wouldn't have thought of that myself. Can't really hold it against them for having liveries that don't work in environment that wasn't intended to be used.
One thing that.
But yeah, it's like the only thing you can get against them. Otherwise, they look fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to touch on it already. Advance has done a super great job. Has been a bright spot for this team. And I'd say Zephyr has done a pretty good job making sure that they either have drivers to race or they have a sub ready to go.
Yeah.
So, given the situation they're in, you take the wins where you get them. So, you know, so the little positives are good. And with that, I think we're ready to start talking about how the season has gone so far. So we're going to start with...
Let's do it.
First race of the season was on WRU Thunderdome. This track was made by Mickey for the league, as the name would suggest.
Beautiful track.
Oh yeah, it's great. I loved racing Thunderdome.
It was a great race.
Yeah, it's a really great track. Lots of fun, just great lines, great sections in it. I think the Akina section was fantastic. It was really like a make or break section for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, a little small, but that's just the restraints from the game changing and the reduction of overall units that we can build with.
Yeah, I mean, also those corners have to be really with the changes to handling. I feel like you have to have the corners really aggressive.
Tighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to do something similar on one of my tracks, Pita Palace, and Mickey heavily inspired. Some of the stuff he does heavily inspired that track. So I tried to do something similar, and really, the first two corners that utilize that, like, in one, Hot Wheels Unleashed 1, they might have been a trouble spot for some people. But the only time anyone goes off of those first two corners are if someone rams you off. They're really easy to hit. It's the second two where I make the hairpins a lot tighter, where there's a higher chance of actually going off. So I think I know where Mickey was coming from with that. It was kind of mandatory to make that section work as intended.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, super fun track. This is also our introduction to Collisions Off in the main season for the league.
It was.
Right? No,
Yes.
no, we did. What am I saying? We had Collision Off races last season, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did.
We did.
Yeah,
I'm
we did.
tripping.
For a few.
A couple of tracks. Yeah,
We
yeah,
did.
yeah.
That's right.
I remember. Yeah.
I'm silly,
Yeah.
but it was
It
our
was-
first experience
it
with
was-
it in this game, at least.
Collisions Off last season was an oddity. It
It was
didn't happen
delegated
too
to
much.
just a couple of races overall.
Yeah, it was pretty rare. We tried to stay with Collisions on, but this season is a bit of a changing of the tide. We have a lot of races with Collisions Off now, and this was one of them.
Mainly from we've noticed that there's been just a harsh uptick for desync shenanigans that happen.
Yep. So this is a lot of crash sections in here too, which we're trying to kind of phase out a little bit if we can. So Collisions Off is what we went with. But yeah, great track. We're gonna go ahead and talk about how week 1 went. So
I will say
good.
the crash sections from Thunderdome to me seem inspired by the Highway 35 playset.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
are.
For sure. Which is always a fun track.
For Thunderdome, we see Kami up in the front, getting that invite.
Yep. So Kami got first for Neostorm. Got the finale invite. Then it was Fidestic. Then it was Power Pipes in third. I was in 4th. And then we have a leaderboard swap. It doesn't really matter for points because it doesn't change anything, but Soul was actually in 5th, and Aphex was in 6th. Milestone had a moment. Norton was 7th. Shuby was 8th, and Shuby is the one who wrote loser on this podium
Shuby,
screenshot.
I know
not
you'll
me.
be listening to this.
Uh-huh.
You're not a loser. We love you.
His controller is a loser, though. And disconnected.
Oh, yeah, his controller is absolutely Dumbo.
Yes, disconnected and caused this situation.
That's unfortunate.
Alyssa, in her debut, finished 9th, and then Arrow was in last in Drift King.
Yeah, and one thing that a good number of us noticed was the fact that 1st through 8th are all Swift.
Yes.
That is
unfortunate,
Yeah.
but...
One other thing, though, that we kind of noticed is top 3 were in a land of their own. They were off, like, relatively early. They separated themselves from everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of kept up for a little bit, but it didn't last. And the 3 of them were all just long gone. It had a really close battle for the rest of the race. Kami got the pass for the win on the final jump because motorcycles, they need 2 pips to clear that jump and not lose a lot of speed. Whereas cars don't need 2 pips. They can do it in 1, but they can do 2 to get some extra speed out of it. The motorcycles had to use 2 or they would slow down too much.
I mean, it was still a good race overall. Like you said, though, the top 3 positions, they were just by themselves. They just left everyone.
They had a great battle, though, which was exciting to watch, of course. If I recall correctly, the Riptide guys, didn't they have issues in the Akina section, or one of them?
I don't remember.
If I recall correctly, yes. Like Soul and Aphex, they kinda crashed on each other in the Akina, and they fell off to the magnetic path. And that was the reason why they got so behind in the race.
Yeah, because I was in a world all my own. I wasn't fast enough to keep up with the top 3, but I didn't make any mistakes, so I was just kind of on my own in 4th. And I know Norton also had a crash, if I recall correctly. I don't remember where it happened, though.
I will say, this is a pretty intimidating leaderboard right here for rookie drivers.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Alyssa Rocks really came into this with, like, it took a lot of courage to come in here with all these big names. So props to Alyssa.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much everybody showed up with their top drivers for the most part. Or 2 of their top drivers.
Yeah.
It was very competitive.
And as we can see from on the right side there, the overall points. Is NSE snagging 24 points overall from this first race.
Yep. They came out of it in first. Curlworks was second, 4 points behind, 20 points. They went back and forth in the top 4 spots, so it makes sense these 2 teams kind of separated themselves. Riptide got 13 in 3rd place, sitting right in the middle, which again makes sense when you look at the leaderboard. BHR had 9 points, and then Conquerors unfortunately started the season with the worst point total you could get, which is just 5 points.
It's a little unfortunate when you're just kind of thinking about how they had all those unfortunate circumstances before the season even began, and in their first race, they only get 5 points.
Yeah, it's not the best way to start your season, but there's, after this race, there's still plenty of time, right? It's week 1, plenty of time to come back from this. And yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
mean, even in
nine
the
more
present,
races to turn this ship around.
even in the present, there's still plenty of time.
This is
Oh,
true.
yeah.
This is true. Gunner, when you have a second, you might want to try turning up your mic a little bit, just so you know. As I still think you're pretty quiet, and I've got you pretty much maxed.
How does that sound?
Better.
All right.
Cool.
Better.
Yes, a little bit better. Maybe just a little more. As I want to make sure that you're still able to
We
be
do
heard
on
when
the
I
fly
load this up.
testing here at the.
Yeah, sorry, we just said no editor. We're just doing this unedited. It's chaos. Chaos theory is the way.
Stuff if you need me to.
Anybody have any other comments about that first race on Thunderdome?
Not really. I think this was a pretty much a straightforward race. Surprised to not see that many bites at RTC, but we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty solid result. I think all of the top contending teams are fighting their hardest at staying in the top. Um, Even nowadays, there's not that big of a difference that was happening last season between the console teams. Like if we go to last season, there was like a 20-30 point difference between the first and second place, but this time around the difference are pretty low, and I feel every team has a chance at this point to get into the first place, or at least in the podium.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we will move on now to the second track. This is Heart Tremors. This is by Shatter. This is BHR's team track. This track is pretty wild.
It looks crazy.
Yeah.
I haven't raced this.
It is crazy. It's a pretty intense circuit.
And I think a lot of people, including Kami, were saying that this track might be the most technical track on the Acceleron schedule this season.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I can see it. At the time that this race came up, I was sick, and I tried running a couple laps, and I promptly was like, no, can't do it. It's not happening.
Like what you're seeing here on the screen with this nice shot that's actually a split.
Yep.
That you're seeing.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a cool
right
split using jump pads.
Yeah, so right before it, when you're coming in, you can either go on the right side and it'll send you up, or you can go to the left side and you'll go down.
Yes, and I believe the outside track that my Drift King is on for this image is the down, and I believe it was everyone decided that was the fastest, I believe.
It was
was.
Whenever I ran it for just like practice, like understand what Acceleron was going on, that downward path, because when you're going down, you can actually, before your car lands where the jump pad would normally take you to, you can just boost through and just land by the checkpoint instead.
Yeah, this is a great piece of work by Shatter. So.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
Absolute banger of a track.
Well, we got a familiar face at the top of the leaderboard here. Kami came back and won once again.
But the invite doesn't go to him. It goes to Bizor.
Yes.
Pass down.
So Bizor got the finale invite with second. Billick rounded out the podium in third place for Curlworks, double podium for them. Jumpy in a rocket was not what I was expecting to see in fourth. And then even more shocking was a rookie, like a brand new rookie, debut on this track, fifth place. He showed up out of nowhere. No one really saw him much in practice. Advance showed up and just just dropped a fantastic performance. 5th place
That's-
is crazy.
Dropped in.
That's pretty
Nobody
exciting
knows
for a
who
rookie.
he is, and
Yeah.
he still does absolutely wonderful.
Apex got 6th. Then Norton was 7th. Roro Schlammed was 8th. Beck had some misfortune, if I recall correctly. I don't remember what it was. Finished 9th. And Alyssa was in 10th.
Once again, a lot of big names here too.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much every week,
Happy.
though, in Acceleron.
That's true. It's Acceleron. The land
Acceleron,
of
you're
big
gonna
names.
get just name after name after name after name every day, every week.
Yes. I do not remember much from this race, because if I recall correctly, I was pretty down and out of it. Do you guys remember much from the race? Any highlights? Any events of note? I don't remember.
Not that I can recall.
Don't think so.
I also didn't work on this
I
video, so
think
I
the
wouldn't
biggest
know.
highlight was Norton crashing because he was the most inverse
Oh, that's right. Norton was up near the front.
of the guys. And he got a big crash. He lost all the advantage he got, and he fell from, I believe it was 4th, 5th place to all the way down to 7th, which is hell unfortunate.
Yeah, I thought it was like 3rd. I could have sworn it was 3rd, because I remember Billick saying something about how he ended up 3rd mainly because Norton crashed. I might be mistaken on that. I might, I don't remember. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we saw those videos. But yeah, so Norton had a crash. I have to imagine Beck had a crash at some point too. We've seen Beck perform pretty well, so I don't remember what happened though. So if there was a crash there, I don't remember, unfortunately.
Sorry to interrupt.
Good.
Announcement in World Race Unleashed about a scam. Just came out at 2:33 p.m.
No. I guess.
Yeah.
Just a friendly reminder: ignore weird, sketchy stuff.
It's a photoshopped like illegal purchase thing. It looks pretty legit according to Shuby, but it's not. So just be careful, guys. Always read the URLs.
Yeah, just pay attention. Watch out for known hacked accounts. This one in particular is a known hacked account. It happened a while ago. Yeah, just don't click on anything sketchy. Discord will not send you weird stuff like this to your account. They'll probably email you if something crazy happens. And even then, like, make sure you're paying attention. But yeah, just be careful. Thanks for that, Foot.
You're welcome. Always good to have a PSA.
Yes, good PSA indeed. So, point standings after this race changed a bit, with Beck having a bit of a rough race and Curlworks maintaining the double podium. Norton, welcome to the show.
Norton cameo.
Goodbye, Norton. Curlworks moved up to first place by 1 point over Neostorm Evo.
Yeah.
Which was pretty hype for us. We were feeling really good after that race. Riptide had a slightly better performance than their first week. So they, I think they closed the gap a little bit on Neostorm.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
BHR had the exact same result, so they just gained another 9 points. And then lastly, Conquerors did better because Advanced had quite a good race. However, they were still in last, just only 4 points back.
Why, yeah.
So I guess it's the same gap they had after the first race, though. So they just maintained that gap, right? Am I remembering that properly?
I think so.
Oop.
We are professionals. We promise.
I hit the wrong button. But I guess we can move on since we don't have much else to say about this one. Rise Up 2.
Oh, the misery.
Oh,
the
the
misery.
misery indeed. So
No.
we'll go ahead and quickly address the first part. This race was run twice. There were some situations that unfolded in the first race, disconnects, other issues, and some bad communication, I guess, on the behalf of some parties, and some indecisiveness. Whatever happened, right? The race happened, and there was some chaos. The agreement was made at the time to rerun the race, and that's the decision that everyone has to live with. It was unanimous.
Yeah.
All 10 drivers voted to rerun it. So while we were hoping the outcome would be similar and it would not really change too much. Unfortunately, it changed a lot. But that is what we agreed to do.
Affix the Chad. We are sorry.
Aphex won the race that didn't happen. So I personally, shout out to him for being willing to rerun it, given that situation. He definitely didn't have to. He could have said, nah, I think I'll keep my win and move on with life, but he didn't. So that's mad respect points to him for that.
You are the champion, my friend.
Well,
He's a legend.
yes.
Aphex is a legend.
Yeah, it's huge. But yeah, so the race was rerun, and much to Aphex and Riptide's detriment. So, and also Curlworks' detriment. I fixed the screenshot, but it loaded in properly. On the recording that didn't happen, I accidentally had the Nitrox results here, but I managed to get the correct ones in this time. It just cropped incorrectly. But you can still see all the numbers, so, it's chill. Pato got first. That's huge. That's Pato's debut, right? This is the first race for Pato.
That is correct. That is his first
showed up and was like, fuck all you guys. I'm just going to win this race, grab an invitation, and then be on my way.
Unless Pato was in Street before this.
I don't think so.
No, he was.
He was on Switch?
Yeah. Last game he was entirely on Switch. This season he got to play on Acceleron on PC. And look at what he did.
That's pretty exciting, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
First race and first place. That's amazing.
Norton had a fantastic drive as well, recovering from the issues of the first two races, grabbed second place. That's huge for BHR.
Garnable's securing that nice third as well.
Yep, only one bike this race.
Getting an even better placement than the previous race with 4.
That's exciting too.
Yep,
for
that is crazy. Kami is here. Kami is in this race in the Camaro.
He was for Conquerors, I believe, right?
Yes, this is a sub for Conquerors in the sub Camaro. Beautiful sub Camaro made by Aero delivery. Kami went out there and put down a 5th place. Wolf had some misfortune, ended up 6th. Aphex went from winning the first race to crashing in this one early. He hit one of those hairpin corners, spun out, if I recall correctly. Ended up 7th.
He also fell off as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did that, and then he proceeded to fall off, I think, on the recovery. He hit it and then tried to recover and then flew off and had to respawn. So it's just pain.
That's really rough.
Pain incarnate.
I saw that when I was editing the video, and I was like, "Oh, that you poor bastard."
Yeah, it's hard to watch.
Bless your heart.
I don't remember what happened to Big Mac, but Big Mac ended up in 8th. He must have also had a crash.
I think Big Mac fell from one of he fell from one of the hairpins at the start of the race.
Gotcha.
See that whenever
and he didn't get to recover in any way.
Or maybe I did. I don't remember.
Gore, do you want to talk about what happened to you? You can say no.
Oh. No, I really don't want to. Gunner already know what happened, but it just...
I can bring back...
going from second place to dead last
Oh
in
no.
a question of like 10 seconds. It
Dang.
was 10 seconds of pure misery.
We're not gonna bring up specifics, but he went from first to last.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. He was also on the podium in the first race, so it didn't. The rerun went very poorly for Riptide and Curlworks, and it went very well for
poorly
everybody
the people
else.
who did well, but went well for the people who did poorly.
Yeah. And then Shuby had controller issues in the first race. I don't remember what happened in the rerun. Finished
I
10th.
don't know.
So
All
this
I know is that his footage was really blurry.
interesting.
I don't know why.
So the points after Rise Up and the chaos that came with it. This track was by Beck, by the way. I forgot to mention that. This track, very good track, made by Beck. So the drama in this race was not caused by Beck. It was caused by other things. The track was fantastic.
Scoring, NSC back on top. Now ahead by 14 whole points.
Yeah, big swing.
Yeah.
Big
It's a
swing.
big lead.
Curlworks was second with 51 points after this race. And then we had Riptide in third with 36. They really, really suffered this race. And BHR had they were on both ends of the spectrum, second and last, but it did help them catch up to Riptide in a big way. Same, actually, for Conquerors. Got a massive boost from a fourth and a fifth, so that put those last three teams within 7 spots. I guess it'd be a good time to remind everybody that at the end of the season, 4th and 5th place in the team standings will fall down to Nitrox. And the top 2 Nitrox teams will move up to Acceleron. So staying in the podium spots matters a lot. Winning is not everything.
Especially when you're in the Nitrox League, which we will get to in the next video.
Yes. So, yeah, big deal. It was very close after Rise Up there at the cutoff line. So, we'll head off to our next track. Team track, Kuro Hideout, Kuroworks team track, made by Boi Gore.
Amazing track.
Yes.
Amazing track.
That's a lot of
amazing man.
That's a lot of track to box in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is quite a lot.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
We call that the track room budget.
Yes, sir. It's the only place you can make that kind of stuff at this point.
Is it out of bounds too?
It is out of bounds in the track room. Yes.
That's why poor little LaFossa there is a little hard to see.
Yeah. Tough to see, but he's there. Great track. This is our first race of the season with collisions on. So the other 3 were all collisions off races because of the technical nature and stuff like that. I think some people would argue that this one also should have been collisions off, but we had one notable collision in this race.
A lot that happened in this race.
There was a couple things that happened,
And even then,
but yeah.
Yeah, but even then, all of the things that happened were not fatal crashes. Like there were a couple fender benders, a couple shunts, but not really something that could kill anyone or get them and their race done for the time.
Mm.
Yeah, all things considered, everything that happened in this race was pretty mild.
All things considered.
Yeah.
But it was pretty mild because we had one of the best recovery drives I've seen in a long time. Soul got caught up in a crash with Den, and I think it was either Den and Dragon Shark. I'm not sure who it was, but the result of that crash caused Soul to have to reset, and his words were, "All right, time for a Riptide recovery," and he proceeded to drive from 9th all the way back to 4th.
He
That's
said,
an
"It's
impressive
rip hiding time."
Yeah. It was
It's time for rip
very
time.
impressive. So Big Mac
Getting that massive W.
Yeah, that was a big win.
Yeah,
Riptide needed a big day after the horror that was Rise Up, and they
that,
got it.
That was the first vehicle in Acceleron to not be a Swift to get a finale invite.
Well, I mean, if you
That
want to
is
get real
correct.
technical about it, the Golf is also balanced, isn't it?
No, it's a Swift.
yeah.
It's a Swift in disguise.
Of course, but I was just saying, I'm just telling Gunner,
I
like,
guess it's balanced,
technically.
Gore, I don't know
It
what I don't know what
technically is
engine
a
you got in
balance.
that Golf, but that is not balanced.
Oh, trust me, I'm not saying that it is balanced. I'm saying that it's a Swift, but I'm just saying in game it's listed as balanced. But yes, in terms of this is a true balanced car. GT Scorcher's not in disguise. So that's a big win right there.
GT Scorcher wears that balanced badge loud and proud.
Animax got third. Dragon Shark was fifth. We already talked about Soul's run back to fourth. Star in the other GT Scorcher and Acceleron
Yeah, they were
had a
both in
respectable
there, weren't they?
sixth place. Yep, they were both here. Beck is back, got seventh. Advanced shows that he is a mortal being, capable of finishing in the back half of the field. Good for everybody else in the league, I suppose. It's not last though. Could be worse. Den had I think he had a crash.
He did. He did have.
He did.
Fall off at one point.
In the first lap, he fell off the track and then had to respawn, and it took all his momentum off.
Yeah. So ended up finishing ninth, and then Arrow had trouble with Drift King and ended up in 10th on this race. It's just not really a track made for Drift King, in my opinion, but
Oh, absolutely not.
this was a fun race to watch. There were some really great battles. I loved watching Soul's POV because we got to watch Soul have really great races with Den and Advanced, Beck, Star, Dragon Shark. Like all of them were really close together, and it was a great watch. I know Big Mac kind of got ahead early and just kind of maintained the gap. Bizor was trying to catch up. He was close, but he got torpedoed by... Who did he get torpedoed by at the beginning of the race? I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Star. Star clipped him into the wall, and that kind of gave Mac the run he needed to stay ahead of Bizor for pretty much the rest of the race.
Yeah, I think this track is actually a really good example of what we were talking about earlier about some tracks not being kind of getting other vehicle classes like something of an edge over Swifts.
Mm. Yeah, I mean the leaderboard shows it. I mean a true balanced first, a Swift second, another balanced third, Swift fourth, balanced fifth and sixth, a pseudo Swift in seventh and eighth and ninth, and then a Drifter in 10th. Like, this track ended up proving to be a little bit better for other kinds of cars, or at least it seemed that way.
The only class of car here that couldn't do anything was, unfortunately, the Drifter.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Drift cars are just having trouble competing.
They need help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
Milestone, don't ban me. Please. Please make drift cars good.
Milestone.
MotoGP.
You're free to ban me from your server. Fix the game. We need balance updates.
This also might be a hot take, but I prefer collisions on. Because
I think that's
all
pretty.
do?
Yeah, I think we all do. Deep
cold
down.
take. Yeah,
It's not a cold take, but it's not like spicy hot.
Yeah, it's because you have to respect other people's space, and it makes you drive more carefully and with purpose.
That's what I prefer as well. But with how this game just doesn't know where people are.
Yeah. It turns passing with collisions on. Passing is a calculated risk.
Yeah, like we can discuss this like entire dilemma over in the Nitrox video. God, I don't want to touch it.
I mean, that's fair.
Here's what
Yeah.
I'll say though.
It is what it is.
One quick thing in favor of some of the collisions off stuff. The races are very interesting because there's like a boost management element that just becomes way more important, and like drafting. If you want like a race on a track, it just boost management, the draft, and all that matters a lot more. It's very different. Like yeah, you do just run your own line, and it's like 10 time trials going, but the fact that the slipstream is still there makes the racing very interesting. You can have incredibly close racing without, the drama.
Yeah, like,
But I understand, like everyone wants to
just-
see,
yeah, 'cause, like,
muscling for the
kinda going off
line
that,
without killing somebody.
I don't
do
like
like
the
that-
idea of being in a slipstream with somebody and just driving through them because you can and you're on the same line.
Mm.
Yeah, because like that's kind of like what I kind of like about the collisions off is like it becomes not just taking the lines well or perfectly, but it's like can you do it better than the person in front of you, and can you boost manage better than they are?
Mm.
And like I like that that whole concept about it.
Well,
They
speaking
keep
of
that side interesting.
managing, Neostorm did a good job managing their lead in first. They lost a few points on Curlworks, but they stayed up top with 80 points. Curlworks is just 10 back, closed the gap a little bit with a good run
Yep.
from both drivers. Riptide was like, hey, remember how I was close to fourth and third? No, I am not. I am gone. And they shot off way away from fourth and third, jumped only, 22 points back of first place with that run. Like, that was a great race for them.
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, that's a crazy jump for Riptide.
Yep. And then BHR and Conquerors remained pretty close. Only, 6 points apart in fourth and fifth. In the danger zone, but not hopelessly so. They still have, time, plenty of time to run this gap back. So we'll go ahead and head off to last week's race, Circuit Breaker. This one was made by Elias, right?
Yep.
Elias? Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
correct,
that
yes.
is correct.
Yes.
Our boy from Xbox.
Yes, it was made by Elias. And
That upside down. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Whatever.
What were you
I was
gonna
gonna
say?
say that upside down magnet section into the corkscrew looks fun and tricky at the same time.
It's surprisingly not too big of a deal, if I recall correctly. I think there might be double mags there. Oh no, I think you see green strips. The magnets in this game are much stronger, so you don't have to worry too much about getting flung off by corkscrews like that.
I do like that, but that kind of does have a problem with some certain cars where
Yes.
like the magnet will still be affecting them, and then like going on onto like those ramps that come onto that are on the magnets by default.
Yep.
And
It's
certain cars get flung.
It's a major issue, actually, if you're trying to make a track with lots of like platforming, if this is a good way to put it. Some of my
You
tracks,
have to do it in a way that
you have to use like strips and make sure like the last piece of track has no magnet on it. And I realized that a bunch of my tracks actually have this issue and did not die, and some of the points of the track you have to kind of pull up to not fly backwards off the track. And I was like, shit, I guess I'll have to make sure I don't make this mistake anymore. But hey, it is what it is. That being said, I like Circuit Breaker. I think this was a surprisingly technical track. I ran it a bunch, and I thought it was like one line. Really, really important to be in one line. Like, if that makes sense. There was the one racing line was the spot you wanted to be in. That makes sense.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
prime
Yeah,
line.
it was very contested.
And
Yeah,
because of that, there was a late change made, and we switched from collisions on to collisions off.
yeah,
Which I think was a necessary change.
I
But-
agree.
Yep. And because of that swap, we saw what? Did we have extra bikes show up? We did. We had 2 bikes. And Fidestic got the win.
With Canyon Carver.
Let's go.
So
Right,
big win
that's
for
the one.
Curlworks in Canyon Carver, yes. Kami was second in Split and Image, too. Then it was
I think
Garnables, also in a motorcycle. Which motorcycle is that?
Street Stealth.
I believe that's
It was in Street Stealth.
Nice. I'm not super familiar with the motorcycles, so I can't remember.
God, that image was small.
Yeah, I know. Jumpy is in 4th. Once again. I didn't expect this to be a good track for the Audi, but Jumpy's just a madman who makes that thing work. So, full respect. Wolf got 5th, top half finish. Good work from him. Big Mac had 6th. Norton was 7th, which I feel like is a pretty common spot for Norton for some reason. Advanced was 8th again, so tougher week for them. Roro was 9th, and Alyssa chose to take the Camaro and finished in 10th.
That's an interesting choice.
Yes, it is. I can understand it, though. Do off-road cars handle weird on magnets?
I
thought
don't
they
know.
handled fine, but
You think they handle pretty, like, a lot like the other cars do?
yep. Didn't seem too bad
Gotcha.
on magnets.
That was the only thing I could think of, is if maybe some of those off-roaders, I don't really touch them too much. I was wondering maybe they just handle weird.
Well, there's also the multiple classifications of the off-road cars as well, because there's the off-road Jeep, and then there's the off-road Rally.
Gotcha. Okay.
But Alyssa's got the Rally with the Quattro. I don't think that does horribly on magnets. I think it performs pretty well still.
Just
Interesting.
kind of take the mags like a normal turn with the rally cars, I feel.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, yeah, so I wasn't really expecting someone to take the Camaro willingly on this track, but who knows? You know,
It
maybe
is
she.
not too great on this track, by the way.
Gotcha.
I tried it.
Gotcha. Was there a chance you were going to sub on this one?
I thought Riptide needed a sub, but they were just joking the whole time. So
Oh, that's right. They were like, "Oh yeah, Matt can't make it."
I remember.
That's right. I remember that. They were
I
trolling
remember
the
I
gold Matt thing.
jokingly said I could sub.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, it was an interesting decision. Maybe she thought she had something. Who knows? I can understand wanting to, it's been a tough season for Alyssa. Can't really hold it against her wanting to try something different to try and shake up the results.
I mean, everyone's first season is tough, for sure.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, especially if your first season is in Acceleron, where it's more of like the top dogs are.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
So with this puts us current in the points. This is where we're at. It's week 5 has just concluded. So we have Neostorm in the lead with 102 points. And then they got 1 point on Curlworks this week. So Curlworks is 11 back with 91. And then a little ways back, so it's 20 points, 19 points back
19.
of Curlworks is Riptide in 3rd place. They're kind of in no man's land right now. They're still in striking distance of 1st, but they've dropped back a little ways.
Yeah.
And then way back.
Oh, there went RJ.
Yeah, I think it could be back. Dropping way back in 4th place, we have BHR with 49 points. And then Conquerors is in 5th with 41. They're still pretty close, but right now it seems that 4th and 5th are, at least for the time being, pretty locked up.
Say so.
Now,
I think first and second for NSC and KW. I think later on we might see them go more back and forth.
I think so too. I think we're gonna bring the fight to NSC here in the last few weeks. We'll see how it goes.
I
And
think Riptide, if they do really well in these next couple of races, they could get into the running for first and second.
mhm.
Yeah, they may be able to contest it.
Yeah, but they would have to play extra perfect.
Real
to
hard.
do that.
Yeah.
They'd have to like really strategize what cars to go on to each track. They have to like extremely practice the best lines and get the best outcomes.
I think
Stay in advance as well.
yeah. I think BHR and Conquerors, they're not out of it by any, technically they're not out at all. But they are a little ways back. They can still get out of fourth and fifth. They can easily still, easily is a
They
strong
can.
word, but they can still get to third. There's
They
plenty of
could.
time
I think
left.
the likelihood of those two teams getting demoted are pretty high.
I will say this though, we've not seen Ty yet in the Vespa, and
we've not seen
if Ty is playing the game and is ready to go, Ty will be fast. They could race him a couple times, and they could get chunks of points and start to catch up.
Because
And we also haven't seen Elias, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
You're
right.
He does really well in Sandivore for it just being an off-road car anyway.
Yes, I agree.
Like,
and
he can haul.
If we get Elias and Advanced racing together a few times in the back half of the season, Conquerors could make a legit push to get out of last.
They could.
So anything can still happen. We're only halfway through the season. I mean, you can see, what you're looking at. These are the points that were accumulated in the first half of the season. These same amount of points can be accumulated in the back half. There is a world where Conquerors could put up 102 points and Neostorm could only put up 41, and they could end the season tied. It's literally, the math is right here. Anything can still happen. But right now, things look close for first and second, close for fourth and fifth, and the Riptide just kind of hanging out in the middle. Perfectly in the middle.
They are chilling like villains.
Yes. And then I actually included our finale invite list here on the bottom right.
Ooh, I did.
So our finales, Kami has the invite from race 1. Bizor has the invite from the second race. Pato has the invite from race 3. Mac has the invite from race 4, and Fidestic has the invite from race 5. There are 3 teams represented. 2 teams have 2 people in the finale.
Yep. And as you can see as well, they are just from teams that are in first, second, and third. I hope that we get an invite past to fourth or fifth. Maybe they win it in first place. Maybe they get it handed down from second or third. But I would love to see at least one person from every team in the finale. Hopefully.
It would be nice to see representation
really
from
nice.
everyone.
I would like that too. I like having someone from every team in the finale. It helps speak to the parity. I don't think we're allowing, at least at the moment, I don't think anybody's getting an invite outside of the podium. So we'll have to see.
I don't think so.
BHR and Conch drivers get up there. So.
Yeah.
What'd you say, RJ?
It's going to be interesting.
Oh, I said it didn't happen when there were 3 previous invites in Nitrox that all got podiums.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah. Which we'll get to
that later.
Get to that as well.
Yeah. I've heard whispers that there's a chance where, if the invites are too locked up by, a handful of people, they might start to pass down outside the podium, but I wouldn't bank on that. And I would be willing to say, if you don't get a podium, don't expect to go to a finale. I think that's only as, a desperate last resort that they would consider moving down.
There is precedent for it, though, from a couple seasons ago in Xbox.
Yes, but I don't think that's I don't think that's going to happen at this point. But we'll see.
Yeah,
most likely not.
It will most likely not happen, but I know anything can happen at this point, as Brett said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like to keep things, a little bit loose in case we need to adjust.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we want a finale with as many people as we can get in that
Yeah, we'd
have
like
earned it.
that.
Yep. All right, and with that, that gets us all caught up on Acceleron. We'll talk about next week's race in another video that will follow this one up relatively soon. So look forward to that. Yeah, just anything else you guys want to add?
I'm
No.
looking forward to race 6.
Yeah, race 6.
Curlworks and Neostorm are neck and neck.
Yeah.
Indeed. It's going to be an interesting match.
Riptide coming up on them.
It'll be exciting to see who turns the tide.
On
I see
their
what you did
track,
there.
by the way.
The Riptide.
Ooh, it's the
Riptide.
Riptide?
Yeah, it is Riptide Wave
Yeah.
Pool. It will be race 6.
Interesting.
Yep, their home track.
Which, by the way, is getting a little bit changed up because
It did.
there was a lot of bunny hopping on that track. So it's getting solved and some
Oh,
changes are being made. Yeah.
I think I've raced that track in
Man.
pubs a couple
Who would've-
times.
Yeah, it's been out a
Who
long
would've
time,
thought
so.
people would be bee hopping in their cars this time.
Right?
It's a cool track for sure.
Yeah, Swole made it, did a fantastic job. It's a great track. I love it.
I love the water in it. It's so good.
Hmm. Yes.
It's the one with the tunnel at the beginning, right? With the curvy tracks on either side.
It's not a tunnel. That's the last game, but it does have
Oh,
the
okay.
wavy track feature, like always.
Yeah.
That's like their signature.
Yeah.
Because they're out of bounds in the backyard, and there's a whole river there that's animated. Why is it out there if we can't get to it normally? I will never understand. But
That's a good question.
Right.
I believe wave pool is the topic for another video.
It is. So, with that, I will thank you guys for joining me on this first episode of the Bread's Bakery broadcast.
Really a pleasure to be here.
So, Footloose, Gunner, RJ, Gore, thank you guys. Appreciate it. It was great having you on. I think we might have you guys on very soon for another one of these.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. But thank you guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.
I have
Thank
one
you,
last
Mr. Brad.
thing.
Oh,
I have
yes?
one last thing to say.
Yeah.
Cinco
Oh,
de
God.
Mayo.
No way.
I was hoping he wouldn't do it, but then he did it. He's
Footloose, the
fucking guy.
destroyer, the liar.
this fucking guy. Thanks, guys. Take
Leave a
care.
comment if you're blind.
See ya,
Leave a
everyone.
comment if you're blind. That's right. Does anybody want to do the Riptide thing? They like to do that at some point in the video.
Die!
Riptide.
There we go. Perfect. There. They'll be happy now. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Should be the Nitrox video, so look forward to that.